Hello, it's Willie from the Ozarks, and we're ready for our July the 14th lesson in A Course in Miracles workbook for students. Love is the way I walk in gratitude. Love is the way I walk in gratitude. I went a little longer than I had planned on yesterday, and I try to keep these down closer to 20 minutes. And yesterday we had a lot to cover. I was excited about the lesson, both those lessons, the review lesson, all things are lessons God would have me learn, which encapsulated that concept, forgive, and you will see this differently, were very fundamental in the early years of me studying the Course that pointed me in the right direction. And they've encouraged me ever since. Love is the way I walk in gratitude was yesterday's lesson. So we're not gonna talk as long. We're gonna try to keep these down to around 20 minutes. I tried to do them even less if possible. So I appreciate you guys hanging in with me and making this journey with me. We can all learn to be happy together. All right. All things are lessons God would have me learn. Then we had I place the future in the hands of God. And then today, love is the way I walk in gratitude. I place the future in the hands of God. Today's idea takes another step toward quick salvation and a giant stride. It is indeed. Now, this is yesterday's lesson we're talking about as a review. So he says this is a giant stride, and he says it's another step towards quick salvation. Quick salvation. Let's have it drive up to the drive up and get you quick salvation. Accept today's idea, and you've passed all anxiety. Accept today's idea. That was yesterday, and you still be accepting it today. I'm placing my future in the loving hands of God. Accept today's idea, and you've passed all anxiety, all pits of hell, all blackness of depression, thoughts of sin, and devastation brought about by guilt. In no one instant is depression felt, or pain experienced, or loss perceived. Wow. In no one instant sorrow can be set upon a throne and worshipped faithfully. In no one instant can one even die. And so each instant given unto God in passing, with the next one given him already, is a time of your release from sadness, pain, and even death itself. Place your future in the loving hands of God. You won't even experience death. What does that mean? It means you're not a body and you are free. That's what it means. If you can see the lesson for today as the deliverance it really is, I place the future in the hands of God, you will not hesitate to give as much consistent effort as you can to make it be a part of you. As it becomes a thought which rules your mind, a habit in your problem-solving repertoire, a way of quick reaction to temptation, you extend your learning to the world. And as you learn to see salvation in all things, so will the world perceive that it is saved. All right? So you're going to be a good example of seeing everything as a lesson God would have you learn. And what's the lesson he wants you to learn? Forgive, and you will see this differently. And how will you see it differently? Well, you'll be able to place the future in the hands of God, and you'll see good reason to do so. What worry can beset the one who gives his future to the loving hands of God? What worry can beset the one who gives his future to the loving hands of God? What can he suffer? What can cause him pain or bring experience of loss to him? What can he fear? And what can he regard except with love? For he who has escaped all fear of future pain has found his way to present peace and certainty of care the world can never threaten. Let's talk just a minute about this. For he who has escaped all fear of future pain, the fear of future pain, has found his way to present peace. The only way you can ward off future pain is by trusting God, God's hand. How do you say? Place your future in the hands of God. Well, you do that in the present moment. So you found present peace in order to ward off future pain, because you've placed your hands in the love. You've placed your care in the loving hands of God in the present moment. So you're abiding in peace, and that's why you'll be safe forever. The eternal peace that goes on forever, the endless peace. Let's see. He is sure. Let's see. Let's back up. What worry can beset the one who gives his future to the loving hands of God? What can he suffer? What can cause him pain or bring experience of loss to him? What can he fear? And what can he regard except with love? For he who has escaped all fear of future pain has found his way to present peace, and certainty of care the world can never threaten. He is sure that his perception may be faulty, but will never lack correction. That's what a loving parent does, is he makes sure his child is free from ideas that are harmful. He is free to choose again when he has been deceived, to change his mind when he has made mistakes. Place then your future in the hands of God, for thus you call the memory of God to come again, replacing all your thoughts of sin and evil with the truth of love. Now are we saved indeed, for in God's hands we rest untroubled, sure that only good can come to us. Isn't that a nice thought? Now are we saved indeed, for in God's hand we rest untroubled, sure that only good can come to us. Sure that only good can come to us. All right, I'm sitting back at the same place under my walnut trees and in my raspberry patch. I had picked a raspberry branch to show you yesterday, and I failed to then pick it up and show it to you. So these are the young raspberry. It's a little, you can tell the difference between raspberry and blackberry. Easiest for me is on the new canes. They're a real light yellow, not yellow, a light green, the stem. Where on a blackberry, they don't tend to have that light green tint on the new canes. But anyway, and you know, that's a leaf of 3, by the way. A little leaf of 3, let it be, they say. Well, don't do that with raspberries. And also, strawberries have leaves of 3. So that poison ivy does have leaves 3, and if you're not sure, just avoid leaves of 3 until you learn which one's poison ivy, and then you'll be able to tell, that's poison ivy, don't get into that. All right, we need to be aware of what we're doing when we're walking in the woods. All right, so love is the way I walk in gratitude. I've got another plant here before we go to read that I want to show you. This is a woodland sunflower. Picked it, and I was just, I'm going to watch these a little closer. I've never really watched to see how big the seed actually get on these sunflowers. Yeah, they're pretty, and they're always smiling in my mind. Anyway, I'm not for sure on this which species this is, but it's a helianthus, or a helianthus is the genus of your sunflowers, and I'm thinking this one here is Divaractus. Diveriactus. And I'm not sure I'm pronouncing it correctly. But anyway, this is the woodland sunflower. And I got a couple things I looked up about it I wanted to kind of share with you about it. I thought it was pretty neat. The reason I say I wanted to watch the seeds develop and see if they're actually big enough, because sunflowers have edible seeds, And so these may very well be an edible seed. They'd say that bees like are good for pollinating, good for butterflies, butterfly host plants. But I'm wondering if maybe we can actually get some nutrients for humans out of these with the seeds. And you certainly, sunflower seeds are a big thing, but usually you'd grow the bigger sunflowers. But I'm just wondering if these little wild ones, the woodland sunflower, may make a seed too that you could eat. The roots of many sunflowers are edible. The Jerusalem artichoke, which we'll show you one of them one of these days, is a big tuber, good big root. They also make, it says that a decoction of the roots can rid the body of worms. Found that on a website called naturalmedicinalherbs.com. Naturalmedicinalherbs.com. It also said that an infusion of roots has been used as a treatment in lung problems. So anyway, the root has some medicinal qualities, probably the whole plant does. Decoction and an infusion. A decoction is generally when you boil the root. An infusion is when you, usually it's with the leaves and the petals, but they're talking about an infusion of the roots here. And I'm not exactly sure, except I think that when you do an infusion, you bring your water to a boil, then you put your, what you're wanting to get the extract from, whether it's leaves or petals or something else, in the boiling water, and turn the water off and let it just steep. So that'd be an infusion, where a decoction, you let it boil for a few minutes. All right, anyway, some interesting things on the woodland sunflower. They grow all over here in the Ozarks. All right, love is the way I walk in gratitude. Gratitude is a lesson hard to learn for those who look upon the world amiss. The most they can do is see themselves as better off than others, and they try to be content because another seems to suffer more than they. How pitiful and deprecating are such thoughts. How pitiful and deprecating are such thoughts. And who has cause for thanks while others have less cause? And who could suffer less because he sees another suffer more? Your gratitude is due him alone, who made all cause of sorrow disappear throughout the world. I wanted to point out that our caregivers when we're young, our parents, our grandparents, our teachers, people that are associated, have a huge effect on the way we see things. And oftentimes, even though we appreciate people for caring for us, we have to go back and revisit many of the things that we learned as children, because they're still running our lives today. And this was one that I realized several years ago. My grandfather was my first real teacher. Really, I mean, he really took an interest in wanting to teach me things. Well, he had some areas that he was kind of working on that he didn't realize, and he taught me some of those ideas. Well, one of them that he taught me, we still remember the day we were sitting in the church parking lot waiting for church, and he saw someone walk by that couldn't hardly walk. And he said, you should always give thanks because you don't have to walk like that man does. And so I picked that up and I learned that. Well, look what Jesus says in his very first paragraph. He says, not so good. All right. And we're starting to realize that we're all part of each other. We're all one. And until everyone's free, I'm not free. All right. That's why we got to do this together. We got to help each other. Okay. Paragraph 2. It is insane to offer thanks because of suffering. It is insane to offer thanks because of suffering. In other words, I saw someone suffer, so I can give thanks that I don't suffer. But it is equally insane to fail in gratitude to one who offers you the certain means whereby all pain is healed, and suffering replaced with laughter and with happiness. Nor could the even partly sane refuse to take the steps which he directs and follow in the way he sets before them to escape a prison that they thought contained no door to the deliverance they now perceive. 3. Your brother is your enemy because you see in him the rival for your peace, a plunderer who takes his joy from you, and leaves you nothing but a black despair, so bitter and relentless that there is no hope remaining. Now is vengeance all there is to wish for. Now can you but try to bring him down to lie in death with you, as useless as yourself, as little left within his grasping fingers as in yours. Paragraph 4. You do not offer God your gratitude because your brother is more slave than you, nor could you sanely be enraged if he seems freer. Love makes no comparisons. Love makes no comparisons. And gratitude can only be sincere if it is joined to love. We offer thanks to God our Father that in us all things will find their freedom. It will never be that some are loosed while others still are bound, for who can bargain in the name of love? Let's read that last sentence again. It will never be that some are loosed while others still are bound, for who can bargain in the name of love? 5. Therefore give thanks, but in sincerity. Okay, let love be coupled with your gratitude. And let your gratitude make room for all who will escape with you, the sick, the weak, the needy and afraid, and those who mourn a seeming loss or feel apparent pain, who suffer cold or hunger, or who walk the way of hatred and the pain of death. All these go with you. Let us not compare ourselves with them, for thus we split them off in our awareness from the unity we share with them, as they must share with us. 6. We thank our Father for one thing alone, that we are separate from no living thing, and therefore one with him. We thank our Father for one thing alone, that we are separate from no living thing, and therefore one with him. And we rejoice that no exceptions ever can be made which would reduce our wholeness, nor impair or change our function to complete the one who is himself completion. We give thanks for every living thing, for otherwise we offer thanks for nothing, and we fail to recognize the gifts of God to us. So we give thanks that we're one with everything, one with God. Number 7, then let our brothers lean their tired heads against our shoulders as they rest a while. Isn't that a beautiful picture? Instead of seeing them as a rival to your peace, let them lean their head against your shoulder so that they can rest a while. We offer thanks for them. We can offer thanks for the ones who lean their heads against our shoulders to rest a while. For if we can direct them to the peace that we would find, the way is open up at last to us. The way is opening at last to us. When we point the way to the peace that we found, well, the way is opening at last to us. An ancient door is swinging free again. A long forgotten word re-echoes in our memory and gathers clarity as we are willing once again to hear. Just about makes me cry. It's so beautiful. This ancient clarity, this ancient door is swinging free again. A long forgotten word re-echoes in our memory and gathers clarity as we are willing once again to hear. 8. Walk then in gratitude the way of love. Walk then in gratitude the way of love. For hatred is forgotten when we lay comparisons aside. For what more remains an obstacle to peace? The fear of God is now undone at last, and we forgive without comparing. The fear of God is now undone at last, and we forgive without comparing. Thus we cannot choose to overlook some things and yet retain some other things still locked away as sins. When your forgiveness is complete, you will have total gratitude. There's how you can know if you are not missing your lessons, and that you actually are applying forgiveness to everything, to where each hour is free of the one before. Is gratitude a part of your life? Do you feel the thankfulness of being alive and of sharing this world with all of God's children? When your forgiveness is complete, you will have total gratitude, for you will see that everything has earned the right to love by being loving, even as yourself. Next to last paragraph. Today we learn to think of gratitude in place of anger, malice, and revenge. We have been given everything. If we refuse to recognize it, we are not entitled, therefore, to our If we refuse to recognize it, we are not entitled, therefore, to our bitterness and to a self-perception which regards us in a place of merciless pursuit, where we are badgered ceaselessly and pushed about without a thought or care for us or for our future. Gratitude becomes the single thought we substitute for these insane perceptions. God has cared for us and calls us son. Can there be more than this? I want to read that one again. Today we learn to think of gratitude in place of anger, malice, and revenge. Revenge. We don't need that, do we? Anger, malice, or revenge. We're going to learn gratitude instead. We have been given everything. We've been given everything. If we refuse to recognize it, we are not entitled, therefore, to our bitterness and to a self-perception which regards us in a place of merciless pursuit, where we are badgered ceaselessly and pushed about without a thought or care for us or for our future. Gratitude becomes the single thought we substitute for these insane perceptions. God has cared for us and calls us son. Can there be more than this? In the last paragraph. Our gratitude will pave the way to Him and shorten our learning time by more than you could ever dream of. Gratitude goes hand in hand with love, and where one is, the other must be found. For gratitude is but an aspect of the love which is the source of all creation. God gives thanks to you, His Son, for being what you are, His own completion, and the source of love along with Him. Your gratitude to Him is one with His to you. Your gratitude to God is one with His gratitude to you. For love can walk no road except the way of gratitude, and thus we go who walk the way to God. Isn't that nice? All right. So until tomorrow, practice love is the way I walk in gratitude.